What up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Monet, and we are locked in. This is Power Book 2, Episode 2. What do we know? We know the cops, they're out here looking for a suspect for the murder of Jabari. We also know that Cain, he's been out here looking for a new connect, looking for something to do to branch off away from his mom, because we know Monet, she keeps the kids on lockdown. But before we get to this episode, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you'll be a part of it. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button, it's the easiest thing you can do. Now moving forward, we got to see how Tariq and Cain are going to be navigating through the city when they know that there's a big case going on with a murder of a professor from a well-respected school. So let's jump into it. This is Power Book 2, Episode 2. We start the episode off with Tariq coming in. He's screaming, Ma, Ma. And what you hear in the background is Tasha telling him to remove his shirt, and he actually throws it in the furnace. But when you turn around, Cain is sitting right next to him. That devil is on his shoulder, and he's saying, you need your mama? You need your mom now? Because you know how Cain was. Cain was trying to get him to separate himself from Tasha and Ghost and pretty much be like him. But it turns out Tariq is just sleeping. He's dreaming right now because he has a lot on his mind, and we don't even know where his mom is. And the last thing you hear Cain say is, you know what you got to do. You sent your mom away. And he's basically telling him, throw that phone away. Separate yourself. Become a man. But like I said, he was just dreaming, and all you heard was, what the f was that? And this NYPD, they knocking at Tariq's door. Oh, you need to come down to the precinct with us. We need to have a talk. We know Cain's out in these streets trying to find his way. He's also trying to find his own thing. We seen last week, he met up with Mecca. He had to prove himself. And one thing you know about Cain is, just like the rest of his family, they're going to be in the finest of designer clothes. It don't matter where they're at. In the hood, coming out the bodega, in the hangar, fighting people, putting your life on the line. Who cares? We got designer on. Now, little Guap, he comes out with his cell phone. And one thing we know about the streets is stay off of the phone because it's always going to get traced back to you. And he's asking his followers, we don't even know how many followers he has, but he's like, hey, which candy should I eat first? And Cain's like, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing all that. But he gets a text message from Mecca. And when Mecca texts, you got to get up out of here, especially since Monet kicked us out the family. Councilman Tate and Mr. Simon. Now, if you remember Simon, he's the one that set up everything for Tariq. He used to be in business and worked directly with James St. Patrick. So he's the reason Tariq got into school. He gave him a letter of recommendation. And also Councilman Tate, he's out here trying to find his way, especially after his brother told him to get your stuff together. Now, he's meeting up with Simon because we know Councilman Tate is trying to run for Congress and he needs to get dirt on Congressman Sweeney. You know, the guy that shot at Tariq when they were out in the woods. Yeah, that guy. Now, Simon is like, yeah, whatever you're trying to do, whatever, forget about that. We need you to come down to Stansted and fill a role, you know, be a professor and kind of teach the class. Since Jabari is gone, there's an opening. So what Simon is saying is, if you come down here and you do this for me, then maybe we could find some dirt on Congressman Sweeney. So this is going to be a win-win for both of them. And another incentive that he gives Councilman Tate, 'cause we know how he is. Simon tells him, oh, you remember Carrie? She used to be working down at the DA's office. Yeah, she's a professor there also. And, you know, you have something to look at while you're there. Pretty much saying, yeah, Tate, when you get there, you get some game, you can get at Carrie. So, you know, Tate look at him and be like, shoot, we can cheers to that. Well, the reason the police dragged Tariq down to school, which they wouldn't be able to do in real life because he's an adult now. He gets there, grandma's in here drinking. Drinking and driving while intoxicated. And guess who's here? Sax. Now, we know Sax works directly with Davis. He's an associate, Davis and Associates. And he's getting here and he's like, I'm going to be taking over this case to try to help your mom get out. Yeah, she has a little band-aid on her head. So I guess they got in a little car accident, just a fender bender. Now, when he goes in here, he's talking to her. Grandma, they call her Big Mama now. I'm like, man, this is just Grandma. She's not Big Mama. She ain't put in enough work to be Big Mama. She's only 62. But he's like, you can't be doing this. And what she's saying is, I need, you know what I'm saying? I need me a life. First your dad died, then your mom's gone, and now I got Yasmin. I just need a drink. It's like, all right, we know you got a lot on your mind and a lot on your plate, but Grandma, you got to chill. You the only one watching Yasmin. Cain meets up with Mecca, and when he gets in there, he's starting to talk business to him. And one thing Mecca's trying to teach him, stay aware of your surroundings. Now, they got a chef in here, Cool guy. He over there. He not saying much, just doing his job because, Mecca crazy. And Cain is saying, I got an opportunity for us to try to make some things happen. And at this point, Mecca, he's saying what you did was brave. When he came in there to the hangar, he did that fighting, but you shouldn't be doing no nonsense like that. So I'm going to put you on a trial run. Out of nowhere, little Guap shows up and they look at the security camera and they like, you invited him? He's like, nah, man, he must have followed me. When he comes up, he's on his camera. He's on his phone again. And we just heard Cain tell him, stay off of that. Mecca greets him, drops him down to his knees and starts breaking his fingers. And he's telling Cain, look, we're going to try you out. I'm trying to take over New York. And you got this guy, these little goons that you have. This isn't going to be well. This isn't going to work for me. So take him and get up out of here. But Cain is on the trial run at least. The first thing Tariq does in the morning is goes to see Davis because he needs to figure out how to get his sister out of the system. Now, Davis is telling him Sax did something good. He worked with your grandma. She doesn't have a DWI. All she has is a DAC, a DAT. This means she go home and it's just like a desk thing they were calling it. I read up on it. All it is you go home. You're not really charged with the DWI, so they're going to make it smaller. She just has to stay at the house until the court case comes. Now, Tariq is asking Davis, what can he do? And like I mentioned in the trailer breakdown, this is going to be in the family courts. Davis isn't going to be strong here. So what he's saying is, I can help you with this, but you're going to need to get another lawyer. You're going to need to have some money and you're going to need somebody that has a high stature. So what you're thinking is he's probably going to have to get with Councilman Tate. Tate shows up for his first day at work. Carrie's showing him around and we see the cops there in Jabari's old office. This will be Tate's new office. They're interviewing students though, so he's going to be sitting out in the hallway for now. Now, when they get to Carrie's room, he's like, oh, can I tell you how stunning you are? And she's like, please don't. But he's looking at her. She picks up her jacket. He looks like, okay, Carrie is nice. Simon wasn't lying. But she's like, look, don't call me Carrie. It's professor. And you're not even a literature teacher. You're not even a professor. So how about I take this class and you just sit back and watch? Tate, hey, man, it's just free money. But all right, I'll sit back and watch. Detective Kevin is the head investigator on the Jabari case, and he's doing like any cop would do. He's out looking for leads. He pulls up on a lady named Hannah. Hannah is actually Carrie's sponsor. Yeah, Carrie's been drinking. She's been hitting that bottle a little bit, just like Grandma has. Now, what she's saying is, oh yeah, I know Carrie, I'm her sponsor, but that's client privilege. We can't discuss anything that she's talked about with me. Now, this would be true if she was a doctor, a therapist, or a licensed physician, but she's none of these. So he's saying in a criminal matter, such as a murder, you can't hide anything that a sponsor would, keep back from a client. Now, you can either answer these questions now or I can take you down. So this is putting Hannah in a tough spot. So you already know she's going to crack because any upstanding citizen, they going to tell the law what they need because there's no reason for me to get tied up in some nonsense. We know Monet has an exit strategy, and this is for Zeke to go pro. The family follow him. She becomes his manager. Bad idea, but this is what she has planned. So today, Zeke actually announces, hey, I'm going to be entering the draft. Everybody's like, oh, hey, go Zeke, go Zeke. But are the off-court activities, the things, we're holding you back, is that going to play any role? He said, nah, all that's taken care of. Now, when they get done, Monet and Diana, they're off to the side. So Monet's like, hey, she calming down the whole, all of the people in the crowd. Calm down. You can ask some questions later. Now, I don't know why they're standing right here in front of the media and she's asking him, hey, is all that off-court stuff taken care of? Because this is what you need to do. I have your best interest. I'm the only person. And also look out for the women because they're going to be after you, especially entering the draft. So be careful with that. Now, this young man, Zeke, we know he makes these silly faces and he's not the brightest. They're going to need somebody with him 24/7. Tariq shows back up and he's had a long day. We know he ain't got no car, so he's running all around the city. Got to go to Davis' house, go to the police station. No, a lot of that. But he gets back and he's talking to Brayden. And he's asking Brayden, where's the work at? Where's the product? Now, we know last time when they were picking it up from Monet's house, Brayden had it all in his trunk. And he's saying, oh, it's at my people's house. It's like Fort Knox over there. No one's going to, they're not going to do anything. And Tariq is like, all right, but look, I got a lot going on. So he's putting trust in Brayden to actually move the work himself. Go take it to whoever he needs to take it to. And he's going to trust Brayden to be able to get this done. And even Brayden was shocked. Like, you trust me to do this? He's like, yeah, bro, get it done. I don't know about this one, y'all. Y'all remember the bar? It got shot up. So what Monet is doing, she's paying someone to redo all the windows. The bars on it, we need that sturdy glass, that bulletproof. Now, Diana, she's back here. She's calculating all of it. And she's like, hey, Mom, we don't need to do the back windows. And Monet saying that's an investment. As long as the little bar is closed, we're losing money. So you got to invest money into it. It'll work out in the long run. Now, her and Diana, they kind of get into it because Diana, we know she wants to go to school. We don't even know what she does at the house all day besides sit around, put on new clothes and ride around the city with Diana. And Diana, she's like, let me go to school and learn accounting. And Monet's like, what do you need? What do you need to go to school for? You don't need to go up there. You trying to be around Tariq? She's trying to run the business for you, Monet. Calm down. But in the background, you hear a car. And it's playing, can you stand the rain? And Monet looks outside and it's a Camaro. Look like a IROC RS. Okay. And it's playing this song. And you hear Diana say, when did you like R&B music, Mom? Is it because it's your anniversary? And she's like, yeah, it's been 22 years. Like, dang, I didn't know you and Lorenzo was together that long. It's time for class, canonical studies, the advanced class. You know how we get down. Now they're looking at each other. Tariq comes in like, what is Tate doing here? And Tate's looking, Tariq's in his class. Oh, brother. Now they start talking about what the title of the episode is, a selfless act. And they start talking about Jesus, how it was selfless of him to do this. But Councilman Tate, even though he's not a professor, he brings up a good thing and says, sometimes you do things for somebody else. Scratch my back, I scratch yours. We can get something done. So Tariq hears this and he's like, Davis just told me I needed to talk to somebody that has a little bit of, notoriety. So he goes up to Tate after class. Zeke is helping Drew. We know he got shot up. His shoulder ain't really doing too well. And he's like, man, this is the training I did to get my shoulder back. Now, Drew starts to explain things to Zeke that he's not supposed to know. Zeke, he's supposed to join the NBA and that's it. That's all he knows. Now, Drew is saying, yeah, that's Mom's plan for you to do that. And then we're going to leave the city. We're going to follow you around wherever you go. Then he also slips up and says, this is good because Zeke, we're getting you away from Tariq in the connected course. The little app where, hey, you say you want the advanced package, they send you some drugs. And Zeke is like, oh man, Course Connect? Tariq is behind that, man. He has that locked up. So Drew is giving away too much information, especially to someone like Zeke. But now Zeke is seeing, my auntie doesn't have my best interest. She's looking out for herself. Also, an agent comes in. You see Zeke. He's like, "Ooh, freaky Zeke, I see you, baby." I couldn't make it to the press conference, but here I am today, and I want to help you navigate your way through this NFL. No, wait, my bad. NBA draft. That's a shaky agent for you right there. Tariq goes over to talk to Tate, and what he's asking him is, "Hey, I can use somebody like you. Councilman Tate. You got that notoriety. People know who you are." For, the family courts. And he's like, Tariq, you can't do anything for me. But then he just remembered, do you know any Westons? And guess what? Brayden is a Weston. Weston's actually donated money to the Stansfield school. So he's saying, yeah, because he's trying to dig up dirt on the congressman. So he's like, okay, let me see. I can work with you. I'll find out about your little sister. Don't worry about it, Tariq. Detective Kevin actually stops the conversation that Tariq and Tate are having because he needs to interview Tariq. And he's saying, hey, sorry I brought you back in this old office, but what did you know about the murder of Jabari Reynolds? Do you know anything? Tariq is like, nah. He's saying, well, someone saw you in here the day that he died. And he's like, well, I'm a student, so I don't really know anything. But what Tariq does do is try to take the attention off of him. And he says, well, there's a rumor that Jabari, he was messing with Carrie, the other professor. I really don't know much because I've been dealing with my mom's case in school. So Tariq is trying to take all the attention off himself. And then he also brings up, there was a dinner that Jabari and Carrie went to and they had an argument. So we getting the attention off of us and we putting it all on Carrie, baby. Brayden got to move that work and he pops up on Effie. And Effie's in here effing something. Well, she's trying to, but they're doing a little bit too much foreplay and they don't actually get to where they got to get to because Brayden gets to knocking. Now he looks in there. He's like, oh, if y'all need any help, let me in. But Effie's downplaying it, talking about you're supposed to be here a couple hours ago. And we know Brayden is a lively character. And he's like, oh, well, you know what I'm saying? let me on in there. She's like, boy, bye. But he's dropping his work off to Effie. He drops the bag off to Effie and then he leaves because he's like, all right, I'm doing my thing. Now his brother calls. He's like, man, come over here. We know he doesn't want anything to do with the family tradition. They want him to pledge Kappa. He's like, I'm not doing that. But Effie calls him back and says, hey, get over here right now. The product is stepped on, meaning it's not good. Normally stepped on means, say you have 100%, you step on it, it's 80%, step on it again, it's 20, like you knock it all the way down. So he has to get back because it looks like someone played them. Now, Tariq meets up with Cain. Brayden is calling because the product is bad, but Tariq hangs up because he needs to talk to Cain about what's going on with the Jabari murder. And he's telling him, hey, I talked to the police and they got a suspect. So Cain is obviously, man, you talk to the police. That's one thing we don't do. We don't talk to the police about nothing. Nada. But he's saying, hey, it's another professor. They're looking at her. So that means eyeballs are all for us. Pretty much, they can't trace it back to us. Now we got to figure out how we can make it even look more and more like Carrie and less like us. Because they're still going to be asking people at the school, what do they know? And someone can easily slip up and say, oh, I did see Tariq that night. But as of right now, they're looking at Carrie. Good old Sax in the sack with Jenny. And she's a DA. So she's on the other side. You know, they go out here and they do lawyer stuff for the defense. And she's a prosecutor. And they in here, they doing their thing. Sax is like, hey, man, what's going on? Now, here goes some information. Jenny actually picked up the case of the Jabari murder. And she's saying that the prime suspect is Carrie, a former DA. She used to work in the same office. So Sax hears this. He's like, that is interesting. I'm going to have to tell Davis about this. Now, Sax's relationship with her, they shouldn't be doing this because, you know, conflict of interest. You know, you on one side, I'm on one side. We can share information, mess up a whole case, thrown out. Now, knowing Sax, he's probably going to mess this up, but at least we got some inside information. Brayden sped back because if he's trying to sell all of these drugs, but it ain't stepped on, it's not even the right thing. It's sugar. So this isn't called stepped on, people. This is called finesse. Coke is stepped on, meaning you mixing it with other stuff, you know what I'm saying, formula, different things like that. But when you have a whole brick of sugar, that's just finesse, not stepped on. Now they get into it with whoever the person is buying it, and we have a fight scene. I'm talking about a weak fight scene. Now Effie, she's throwing them hands. She's whooping on her. Brayden, on the other hand, he getting his ass whooped. Tariq convinced Diana to drive him up to the school because he doesn't have a car. Now, you would think Monet would help him out with that, especially if he's going to be working for them, but who knows? So she drives him up there, and that's about a 2-hour, 3-hour drive. And when they get there, Brayden's on the bed, Effie, and then, of course, Effie sees Diana, and she's like, who is this, your girlfriend? And Diana's like, why are you asking? So they kind of get into it, but Tariq's like, hey, chill. And Effie's like, whatever. But we need to figure out why you gave me bricks of sugar. We all want to know that now. So Tariq is looking around like, man, we're going to have to tell Monet. And you know, Monet means trouble. Diana gets back home and you know Monet's about to be tripping. She said it's about a 2-hour drive. So that's 2 hours there, 2 hours back. Oh, man, here we go. But she's in there. Mom, trust me, this is important. I was hanging with Tariq and he got caught with fake product and it was ours. Mom, it's sugar. Now, Monet, she goes over there. You know what? This is sugar. But unexpectedly, she's laughing at it. We're thinking she's about to get upset. And she says, Rico, he got over on me. Cain pulls up on Drew and he's outside. Mind you, these are big dope dealers. He's just sitting outside, arm in a sling, looking at pictures of Everett on Instagram. And Cain pulls up to apologize. Because what he's trying to do is get back in the family since Monet kicked him out. Because he has a new connect. And if you're starting to piece things together, maybe he's the reason why the bricks are sugar and not cocaine. But anyway, he apologizes to his brother. He says, I remember what you told me at the hospital. I only think about myself, but now I'm thinking about the family. So what he does is he tries to butter his brother Drew up and he takes him to the shooting range to try to get him back shooting, but with his left hand. This is where he mentions that, hey, I may have a new connect to help the family out. And Drew is thinking, that's probably what we need because we just got a bad batch in. So maybe, you know what I'm saying? I can tell mom this and you might be good. What I tell you guys about Zeke, leave the kid alone. He doesn't need to know any important information. Now he goes to Carrie's house to tie up those loose ends of the off the court things, aka Monet. Hey, get rid of her. We already know Monet doesn't like her. Now Carrie, she's like, okay, good. You're gonna go to the NBA. It was good. Whatever we had, we'll just leave that alone. Zeke, good luck. This guy, Zeke, you already know he's not going to be able to leave Carrie alone. An 18, 19-year-old with an attractive professor, and she's just throwing that monkey at him. He ain't going to be able to leave that thing alone. Turns out Detective Kevin has been watching Carrie's house. It seems like they know each other and they've had a past, because he goes up and he's like, what was Zeke doing here? She's like, I'm not telling you that. And he's breaking down everything she said to the cops. Your timeline ain't adding up. You know what I'm saying? And you never mentioned Zeke. But since you're the prime suspect, it seems like you're lying about things. And she's saying, no, my alibi is I was here when Jabari was murdered and I was with Zeke. And Detective Kevin has said, oh, really? Well, I'm going to get a subpoena. I'm going to go talk to Zeke. And if you can get him to corroborate your story, pretty much I'll get you off of that murder. But I'm going to get you disbarred from the school. You're going to lose anything that you have that deals with education or with being a lawyer because you're messing with a student. So Detective Kevin, he's doing his job and he doesn't care. So Carrie is looking bad for you, girl. Drew's been out shooting with his brother Cain all day, and in his ear, he's hearing that there's a new connect. When we get to the house, we see Monet. You remember all that sugar they had? She's putting the sugar on top of the cake. Might as well use it, right? Now, he's like, Ma, Cain, we might need to let him back in the family. He has a new connect. And she's like, I'm not messing with anybody dealing with Cain. One, because Cain is unpredictable. And two, you really don't know who this connect is. She hasn't vetted him. But Drew is saying, Ma, this may be our potential chance. And also, this is getting his brother back in the house. In between the conversation, you hear New Edition again. Can you stand up? Ooh. And when we look out the window, it's a red eye rock. And there's a woman getting out of it. Now, Monet, she hears this, and you can tell this is signifying something. This is bringing up something that she's either used to or she remembers. And she has her hand on the window like this, just looking out there. Come on now. You one of the biggest drug dealers out here. You can't just be looking out the window like that. This could be a setup. Tariq comes to talk to Miss Carrie. Now, I just like calling her Miss Carrie. This is because he's putting her as a suspect. The cops know that she had a relationship with Jabari. But when he's in there, he's talking to her. Tate comes in. He's like, Carrie, I need to talk to you real quick. So they leave. She closes the door. Tariq goes behind her desk and you see him deleting the text messages from Tasha. And what I was thinking is when he opened his drawer, he was going to delete these text messages and put the phone in there. So if the cops ever called that number back, it would be tracked, to her spot. But he doesn't do that. In the hallway, he hears Tate talking about the cops. They were talking to Tariq. So Tariq is listening. And also Tate's like, man, I need these cops out of my office. Like, I need a place to sit, and this just doesn't look good. When Carrie comes back, Tariq did whatever he had to do, and he actually leaves. He's like, let me get up out of here. Monet pulls up on Lorenzo, however you want to call him, because it's their anniversary. And she's like, it's the same thing every year. We're in this jail. I need more. You're the only person that held me down. What's he going to do? He's in jail for life. He can't get out. You knew the game when you married this guy. He held you down. Well, that's because you had his kids. So he was actually not holding you down. He was doing what he was supposed to do as a man, Monet. Be grateful. And she's like, well, Cain, he has a new connect, but I don't want to deal with him. Now, Lorenzo's saying if he has a connect, you should use him. We need it. We don't have anything else going. But the reason she doesn't want to do this is because Cain, if you remember, he killed a cop. So that's why she's saying he's out. So she's upset. Lorenzo is trying to figure out how to make things happen from behind the wall. And Monet, she's just, I don't know. She wants out of the game, but she ain't playing the game right. You got to get that connect from Cain. Monet leaves the jail. Got her a little bit of sex in, behind the wall. She pulls up to Cain. Now, Cain's been living over one of his girls' house. And she comes down. She's like, oh, no, y'all ain't about to be coming up in here. Monet gives her some money. Shh. She walks out the door. Now what Monet does is she comes and lays down the foundation. We're going to let you back in. We're going to meet with your connect. We're going to see what they can do. But remember, I run things. So Cain is listening. And one thing she also says is, Tariq, you're going to need to leave him alone. Y'all are in 2 different lanes. He's running the school thing. You're going to be out in the streets. So get your stuff and get back home. Now, Cain didn't really get a chance to talk. And that's how Monet is. She likes to rule the conversation. But at least Cain is back in the house. Now, Diana, she wants to do her thing. We know that she wants to go to school for accounting because if she's going to run the business, it's better to have an education. She's talking about she gets her MBA. You got to get that associate's and bachelor's first. Let's take baby steps. She goes and meets up with Effie and she says, I see what you're doing. You're in the streets, you know what I'm saying? You're moving product and you're in school. Now, Effie tells her straight up, this isn't an easy task. You got to be built for this. Are you even smart? And you know, it's a little bit of a jab because Effie, she likes Tariq. Diana, she likes Tariq, and you know, she riding around with Tariq. It kind of looks funny in her eyes, but it looks like they may be able to build a little partnership for now. Cain is back in the house. So what he's doing is presenting an opportunity to Mecca. We seen when he came over earlier, he was telling him, I might be able to, you know what I'm saying, make something shake. Now Mecca's looking at this stuff and he's like, okay, where you get these bricks from? He's like, oh man, I robbed somebody for it. I didn't have to kill nobody or nothing. They had it in the garage and I took it. You know, and I replaced their stuff with sugar. So when we're listening to it, you stole from your mom. And that's what Becca is saying. Wait a minute, you stole from your family? Because he's putting it together. He's like, there's no way you're getting all this work by yourself. And Cain's like, no, I didn't do that. But Mecca being a businessman, don't matter where the bricks come from. It just matters how they move. So now we got us a little shipment and he's telling him, all right, we're going to see what you can do with this, Cain. Sax takes all the information he has back to Davis, just like I said. And he also mentions, since I'm, you know, doing my thing with Jenny, you know, the DA, Davis is like, come on, bro, you can't be playing both sides. You can't be over there. But anyway, what information you have? He finds out about Carrie. Now, Davis knows Carrie, and also Tariq goes to this school. So Tariq's name's been thrown around. So Davis is like, okay, that's another opportunity to make some money. But he's telling Sax, hey, thanks for all this information. I'm actually going to go see Carrie and see what we can do. Because, hey, we take on all the big cases. We get all the light on us. It ain't going to do nothing but give us more money. So Davis is a businessman. Get it? The business. Carrie's about to leave her office. Of course, Tate stops by. Hey, you know what I'm saying? You want to go? No, maybe not. Maybe later. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot going on. Tate's going to keep working. That's what Tate does. But Carrie, she looks into that drawer, the same one Tariq was in, and she actually picks up the keys. Now, I thought Tariq would have left the phone or did something in there, but they were showing that there's keys in there, and we need to see where these keys that Carrie takes and where they lead to. Tariq ends up going to the little bonfire, you know, that's what schools do, and he actually throws the phone away. He runs into Lauren. She's like, let's get out of here. Now, they go onto this roof. She says no one knows about it. Now they're sitting up here and Tariq's like, okay, cool. We up here, we chilling and stuff. They get to kissing, but Diana calls. Y'all see it. Hey, Diana, I got the perfect spot. We gonna put the drugs on the roof. And the reason Diana calls is because they're at the house and Cain shows back up and now they're sitting down and she's looking like, okay, we got a new connect. We just got finessed with some sugar. So she looks over at Drew and is like, did Cain tell you about the connect before or after he pulled up on you? Because she's starting to put things together. Like maybe Cain is the one that did it. So she has to call Tariq like, hey, Monet wasn't that mad about the sugar, but we need to figure things out. Now, she's not letting anyone know that she thinks or she's suspecting her brother because you don't want to accuse a family member, especially after Monet just brought him back into the family. But Diana, she's smart. She gonna figure something out. Once again, we get disturbed by something. This time it isn't the music. We hear some trash cans get knocked over. So Monet goes out there and she's looking. And like I said earlier, she recognized something like this, like it's happened before. Now Davis pulls up to Carrie's house because 1, she needs a lawyer. And 2, he's a lawyer. Now he gets there and they know each other. And he's like, oh, hey, Carrie. She's like, I see you now wearing your ring. He's like, oh, that thing. Well, look, I'm actually here to talk some business with you. I know you're a suspect and your co-worker, Jabari, you know Jabari Reynolds. Well, he's dead, and I know you're going to need a lawyer. Now, she's listening, and she doesn't really want to work with him. But at this point, for a murder case, You're going to need a real good lawyer, and that's going to cost a lot of money, at least $250,000, $500,000. Now, you could go with Davis and get this done for free. You may have to do something for it, but it'll still be free. Zeke's in his dorm room doing his thing, got a white girl in there, and while they doing it, she's talking about, you gonna do this for the Bulls? How about the Knicks? What about this team? What about that team? I'm like, hey man, you know what, get up out of here. But he's like, hey, shut up. Now we get another, it's Detective Kevin, and we know he's on Zeke's case because he was actually at Carrie's house and seen you coming out of this. So Zeke, get dressed. Why? Because we need to question your ass about what you and Carrie was doing. If that alibi holds up, then that means Carrie is going to get fired. Zeke, he's probably going to mess something up. Well, it turns out all those things, the music being played, the trash cans being knocked over, they were a signal. And the signal was from Mecca. But she doesn't call him Mecca. She calls him Dante. Now, this used to be their signal of to meet up when they were younger. And she's like, I don't know how my dad never knew it was you. And he's like, I just wanted to see you one time. Now, Mecca, he's about business. I told you, he doesn't care where the work comes from. He's going to move it however he can. Now, these two, it seems like they may have had a past. Maybe he might be Cain's father, and that's why he's taking Cain in. I'm going to break that down a little more. But she's saying, whatever you want, that time is over with. He actually gives her his card. He's like, well, hit me up. You know what I'm saying? If you ever need something. So this right here is a twist we did not know was coming. There you go, Power Book 2, Episode 2. Let me know what you think. Do you think when Zeke gets down there, he's going to mess it up when he's talking to the detective? And also, is Monet going to find out about Cain actually finessing her and working with Mecca? Let me know what you guys think. I'm Monet. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Make sure you tune in tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. We're going to have the Power Book 2 after discussion. I'm Monet. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on the beat, boy.